Mounce, BBG, chapter 27, sentence 1. First word is your tauta course, and hopefully you recognize that as a neuter plural. Trick there is to say, well, okay, I know it's a neuter plural, but is it nominative or accusative? First word in the sentence might tempt you to say it's a subject, and therefore nominative. But at second glance, you take a look at the verb which follows it, and you say, well, okay, if this is a plural, then this needs to be a plural verb. And as a matter of fact, it comes from apon, but it has that epsilon nu. So once you see that epsilon, it can only be third person singular. So what that tells you is that tauta, being a plural, cannot be the subject. Therefore, since it is the direct object, probably you're going to treat this as an accusative, and without any other subject obvious, you're going to build the subject into the verb and say either he or she said, and I'm guessing we're going to go with he in this case. He said or spoke, and then these things, and again, you want to tell the reader that this is neuter here because you don't have any other thing in the context to tell you what you're looking at. So better to tell the reader that this is neuter. So he said these things, and then en synagogue should be obvious as in the synagogue. Then you have your first participle. And then in Capernaum obviously should be pretty easy for you. So let's jump back to the participle. And of course, Mounce says that when you have your present participles that you should basically, a lot of times you're going to add a while because they're happening concurrently to the main verb, so functioning in relationship to the main verb. So in this case, you recognize didasco, so that's going to be I teach, but as a participle, it's teaching. But what else do we know about this? Well, what we know is you got the present stem. We know that if we see an omega nu, initially you might think, oh, genitive plural, which hopefully up to this point, that's all you've really thought is omega nu is genitive plural, because it is, for all nouns. As a participle, however, that just tells you that it is nominative, singular, masculine, ending here to didasco with present active participle, right? So with that nominative singular masculine ending, then you go, well, who's it referring back to? Well, it's referring back to the he. So you got to get it to line up in case number gender with with who's doing that, and that's he who's saying these things in the synagogue. So, having said that, you could add the while, probably a good idea in this particular instance. So you're going to say something like, he said these things in the synagogue while teaching in Capernaum, and you are done.